finds peace in death. Great one, Captain.
We are receiving an incoming signal, Captain.
Captain, I see you've made some headway on Gorgon. Mother's old work terminal just lit up with a bunch of new protocols. Very exciting. What about Mother's journal? Any progress there? Are you accusing me of deception? Captain, I would never. Can you hear me, Captain? I'm getting some interference on my end. Captain! Captain!
Hello again, little weasel. I must admit, you've surprised me. I threw nearly everything I had at you, and you overcame it all. Well spotted, Captain. We've both played our roles well, but it seems you've got the edge. I may have gravely underestimated you. You were smart to hire him, Wilhelmina. Well done.
Mother! You're alive! And still on Gorgon? Something tells me we've only seen the beginning. This is so you, Mother. Inserting yourself where you aren't needed and at the worst possible time.
Am I disrupting your vanity project? You empty-headed little twit!
Have you come back just to ruin everything again, Mother? At least this time I have the power to stop you.
Captain, this is a distraction. Let's set our differences aside and focus on what matters. Adrena time must never be revived.
I may not have told you all of the facts, but I'm going to lay out everything I know. You can decide for yourself what to do with it. By now, you realize that Project Gorgon was devoted to a single drug, adrenatime. A drug that hit the market in spite of calamitous side effects. Quite right. There's no end to the harm a poorly run team can do, even with the best of intentions. The project was a colossal failure, but you and I are going to revive it from the ashes. What you've seen is the result of Mother's leadership. I have no intention of repeating her mistakes. Mother's journal contains the activation codes for the adrenatime synthesizer, the key to a new Project Gorgon. We're going to start again, and this time with everything Project Gorgon didn't have. Better R&D, better scientists, clear goals, more funding, and a timeline that makes sense. You have every reason to doubt me. But if you have a shred of hope for a better colony, consider what Adrenatime could do for us. If I can improve the chemistry, I can fix Adrenatime. We can put this colony back on track together. I needed to keep this quiet. Spacer's Choice shut down Adrenatime once. I didn't want to give them a reason to do so again.
Listen to yourself. Adrenatime ruined lives. It killed people, changed them. And now Halcyon buckles beneath the yoke of my failure. We can't risk opening Pandora's box a second time.
What about my life, Mother? The Ambrose name has no dignity anymore. I can't even show my face around Byzantium without being the gossip of the town. It's no laughing matter, Captain. What good can I do if I have no influence? How can I fix society if I can't even take out a loan? Every day, workers slump over from exhaustion. The gears of industry swallow them whole, and no one is coming to help. Adrenatime is the break we can't fit into the schedule. The office with a window we can't afford to build. It's the best this rotten colony can do for people. It's a bandage, not a cure. Halcyon is wounded, and I will do everything in my power to stop the bleeding.
Don't let those bloodless leeches at Spacer's Choice walk you down this perilous path, Wilhelmina. You haven't the fortitude to endure it.
As usual, Mother projects her failures onto me. If she had let me get involved from the start, we might have avoided this calamity altogether. I'd have trusted my team rather than sabotage their efforts. And I wouldn't have stolen their glory when they were on the verge of success.
You don't know what you're talking about. I did everything to support my team. It was Spacer's Choice who betrayed them. But you're nothing more than an empty-headed little social climber. Of course you can't understand.
You see what I mean? Mother is afraid of being outdone by her empty-headed daughter, and she'll do anything to stop me. If I can save the colony and redeem the Ambrose family name, I owe it to myself to try. Mother be damned. Social engineering takes generations, and we don't have the luxury of time. We need to mainline progress into Halcyon's bloodstream. You've seen more of this colony than the average grunt. You know as well as I do that this is a question of survival.
Finally, a sensible question. I am the head of Project Gorgon, its grand mastermind. I created Adrenatime because I believed, arrogantly, foolishly, that I could uplift the common man through chemistry. I failed.
With Adrenatime, we can increase worker productivity orders of magnitude above ordinary stems and risk none of the harmful side effects. Imagine if we flooded the market with drugs that actually helped people. We could influence the very business model of Spacer's Choice. We won't be exploiting workers any longer. We'll be celebrating them. giving them everything they need to succeed.
No, this is madness. The project, the complex, it has to be destroyed, razed to the ground. It's the only way.
Gorgon is a cautionary tale. We agree on that much. But if we go into this with open eyes, then history doesn't have to repeat itself. I need that facility online, but I can't do it while Mother's still a problem. By now, she'll have shut down the Gorgon reactor. Deal with her however it suits you, and get that facility back up and running.
Don't do this, Wilhelmina. Minnie, don't make this choice.
Adrena time is our future. It's bigger than money, bigger than family. It's the colony's best hope.
Return to my family's manor, Captain. Use the executive override code in my journal to activate the NDA protocol for my terminal. It will destroy the Gorgon drug synthesizer and put an end to Adrena time for good. My daughter's gotten her hooks into you. I understand. She's always had a knack for manipulating people. But I know you're more than her foolish little puppet. You've survived this long. You have to be more. She will try to force you to fight her. You don't have to. In fact, I would ask you not to. Whatever mistakes she might make, she is still my daughter.
Captain, in light of recent events, I'm putting the manor under lockdown. Until Mother is dealt with, anyone who lands here is presumed hostile. Finish the job. I know you won't disappoint me.
We arrived at Ambrose Manor.
Yes, you caught me ruminating again. Guilty as charged. What's occupying your thoughts? Now that we've gotten Olivia's side of this whole fiasco, have you given much thought as to who you'll be siding with? It's not my place to say, Captain. You run this crew. I merely serve on it. Of course, but perhaps I was interested to hear your thoughts before possibly biasing you with mine. I believe Minnie means well, but she's playing with forces she doesn't understand. And I don't just mean Adrena time. Even were she to succeed, What would it mean to the people of this colony? Do you really think they'd be given a choice as to whether they used a drug that boosted their productivity? And, even in the unlikely chance they were, I do not believe the colonists are equipped to make that decision for themselves. You've seen how they rationalize even the most abhorrent corporate practices. The board will work them to death even more effectively than they do currently, and they'll thank them. Will that be all?
Something on your mind? And I thought my mother was a handful. This job has gotten messy. Hey, you're the captain because you're the one who has to think about this stuff. I'm just along for the ride. You know I'm not one to pass up a good payday, but after everything we've seen, handing Gorgon back to Spacer's Choice doesn't sit right. Dr. Ambrose may be almost as crazy as Phineas, but she may be right, too. We done with the introspection? I'd rather get back to shooting or drinking. What's on your mind? Sure. Something on your mind?
Hey, Cap. We've seen a lot of stupid in this colony, Captain. Trying to turn raptidons into diet toothpaste. But this, if it's true, if Marauders were made, someone ought to burn for it, Captain. Calling them human is generous. They fit right in with the wildlife. I knew folks who turned. I've seen it happen. It's a slow, insidious descent into madness. Ain't but a shell left behind, sniffing around for its next meal like a canid. Find the folks responsible. String them up. Let this whole damn place rot. Marauders are a problem. Finding out it's self-inflicted is... Ugh. Someone unleashed that evil on our colony. And at the end of all this, they ought to look that evil in the eye and account for it. Good. Thanks for chatting. I know I ain't normally the one to wear my heart on my sleeve like this, but this whole thing's got me shaken up a bit. I'll pull it together. Let's go. Let's find out what happened.
Good to see you, boss. Looks like you got a big decision to make. But I guess that's why you're the boss. I'm glad you asked, because that's an easy one. Project Gorgon was a mistake, and it needs to be destroyed. I was wrong about Miss Ambrose. I thought she was different. Turns out she's just like any other wealthy elite. Miss Ambrose thinks she's doing right by the common worker. But she never hauled boxes for a couple bits a day, or slept alone in a cargo hold, or had to eat salt tuna. Probably. Anytime, boss. Anything else?
I could probably spend years fixing this boat, stem to stern. Can't help wondering if we're doing the right thing. For us, the Ambroses, or even Halcyon. Maybe there's some way we can get them to work together and fix this. Dad always said I couldn't keep my thoughts to myself, even when I wasn't speaking. I've been churning on that phonograph we found. The one belonging to Dr. Ambrose. The one where she says Spacer's Choice tested adrenotime in Edgewater. By the time they sent that drug to Edgewater, they knew it hurt people. That it made them violent and stole their minds. But they did it anyway. Edgewater was already fraying at the edges and they tore it right to bits. All to make money. I just can't conscience that kind of cruelty no matter how hard I try. It just makes me want to scream. Thanks for letting me talk, Captain. I've been needing to get that off my chest. We can't fix the past, Captain, but we can change the future. I hope. Ain't no good can come out of turning that machine back on, Captain. Not after what we seen here. Even with Miss Minnie at the helm, how can we be sure Spacer's Choice doesn't do adrenotime all over again, but worse? Dr. Ambrose means to make certain they can't even try. I know she ain't exactly a nice lady, and it's her fault the colony's even in this mess in the first place. But she means to stop the hurt she caused. We gotta help her try. I knew you'd understand, Captain. Whatever good or bad you've done, your heart's always been with Halcyon. Folks in Edgewater worked themselves to nubs for Spacer's Choice, and not a single thing got better for it. It's the board that's keeping Halcyon from working right. A better drug ain't gonna make them stop. Thanks for hearing me out, Captain. Ain't many folks have ever done that for me.
Emerald.
Jig is up, Cap. I'd wager we're in for a fight.
We'd best watch our step, Captain. She knows we're coming.
opportunity. Great work.
Someone really didn't want this place found.
I see they... Skill! I smell blood. I've had quite enough of you!
unexpected, no.
Hit! That's one down!
Covering you!
Your life was merely an illusion anyway.
Didn't I warn you not to set foot in here until the job was done? You should have listened to my advice. There's nothing to discuss. I can fix Adrena time without you, and certainly without Mother. You wasted your time coming here, and worse, you wasted mine. But I won't let anything stand in the way of progress. Destroy it? You've been listening to Mother, haven't you? She slithered her way into your confidence. Well, I am thoroughly unimpressed. Maybe I am, and maybe I'm not. Why not let the results speak for themselves? No, you just had to get involved. People want to buy clean drugs, and I want to sell them. Under my leadership, Adrena Time will live up to its promise, unlike certain mothers. Do you know why it was a disaster? Rushed production, cut corners, and a failure to communicate. Mother's mistakes, not mine. My drug will be the pride and joy of the Ambrose family. And if we pick up where Gorgon left off, then the human testing phase is well ahead of schedule. Farewell, Captain. If it wasn't already obvious, you're fired.
want your confession now!
You've finished it, Captain. You've put Gorgon down once and for all. I only wish that Minnie had seen reason. The good we could have done together. Join me for a toast in the drawing room. I do believe you're due a reward.
That sounds nice. You know, we don't celebrate enough. We ought to have more toasts.
Hand to law, Captain. I mean you no harm. Your reasons are your own. I understand. Nonetheless, I owe you my thanks. Let me offer them to you in person. I'll have a drink waiting.
Great work.
Running diagnostic error.
I like what you've done with the place. Kitschy collectibles are such a human inclination.
Captain, I believe a celebration is in order. The Gorgon project is dead, and we are not. May they meet the justice of the blade, bullet, or pen, whichever is most expedient. It's funny. When Spacer's Choice released Adrenatime to the public and began the Marauder crisis, and I sabotaged all the Gorgon facilities, I thought that was the end for me. Then you came along and changed everything. I find myself at loose ends now, Captain. What happens next? I'll gladly humor one or two for the executioner of Gorgon. Before I explain, there's a critical detail you must understand. Halcyon is in the midst of a slow-moving crisis, one that will not improve on its own. The board knows this, but they're not lifting a finger to address it. In the absence of their leadership, I thought I could bridge the gap. So I tried to create a drug to expand our workers' minds and improve their bodies, help them work harder, longer, and smarter. With everyone at their best, I thought the colony might be able to innovate itself out of this hole. Don't be preposterous. Eugenics is bunk science, a charlatan's game. Snake oil for a pathetic elite who want to believe that they've earned their privileges and that the poor have earned their suffering. My work is nothing like theirs. Don't tar it with their brush. If Spacer's Choice had given me time to perfect Adrenatime, I know I could have done it. My drug could have saved Halcyon. I wouldn't expect you to understand my life, just as I can't begin to understand yours. I am as circumstance has required me to be. But I don't deny your point, Captain. I craved the glory and virtue of success. When you learn how to resist the pull of the beasts at the root of your nature, do let me know. Was there anything else you wanted to discuss before I bid you farewell? I certainly did. Spacer's Choice's negligence sent Halcyon into a tailspin, and they refused to pull Adrenatime from the market to stop it. They forced my hand. I ended the project the only way I could, by destroying everything. I had faith a strapping hero would come along someday and do it for me. I'm joking, obviously. You were a bolt from the blue. Or the black, as it were. 2 reasons, actually. I couldn't bear to kill so many of my staff, even though our work killed exponentially more colonists. I didn't want to give up on my research, even after all it had cost us. In those early days of the Marauder epidemic, I still believed I could fix Adrenatime. As time went on, I became convinced I could cure the Marauders. But once again, Spacer's Choice has forced my hand, this time through my daughter. And I have to let that dream die too. He was? Oh, this is fascinating. I'll have to get in touch with him when things cool down. I began by shredding all of the personnel files in the Office of Creative Incubation. Clarence was so alarmed by my barbarism, he forgot to call the corporate guard. All his precious numbers and all their precious rows. I should have set fire to them. I released the test subjects from human inquiry and auditing. The ghastly things we did to those people. Marion was screaming, I think, though by this point, my memory's hazy. Everything had gone a bit red. My blood was up, you know. If anyone had dared to stop me, I would have snapped them in two. Compound harvesting, enrichment, and molecularization. My second home. Well, my first home, really. Jasper had been doing some personal work there after hours. Something about primals and mirror neurons. I set the primals free. They tore through the lab like it was made of wet toilet paper. I know. I remember. I wasn't myself by then. Grief and horror had taken me to a dark place. Anyway, that's how it happened. Gorgon's first fall. It's not a pretty tale, but the truth rarely is. I would say my pleasure, but there's nothing very pleasant about this. Children do not remain so forever. She grew up, and we grew apart. I could have tried harder to reach her, to support her. I know. But I confess, I always found my work more engaging than child-rearing. And Minnie and I had so little in common. In the end, my distance seemed a blessing. I see my daughter wasn't the only one poking about the estate in my absence. Old wounds, Captain. Just because they no longer hurt, doesn't mean they haven't left a mark. Shutting Minnie out of Gorgon was the most difficult decision I ever made. Harder even than giving up Adrenotime. You've done me and Halcyon an incredible service in finally putting Gorgon to rest, Captain. But we are still strangers. I understand. I don't like myself much either. Oh, the same words have echoed through my head for the past 20 years. I'd hoped, surely no one could see but me, that I didn't have the heart or the temperament. I'm sorry, I can't talk about this anymore. Is there something else I might answer for you instead? Down there, on Gorgon. It was, but I had my work to keep me company. Work, and a great many number of ghosts. Knowing I lived would have only put her at risk. I destroyed Spacer's Choice's premier research facility. If they'd hurt her to get to me, I'd never forgive myself. I was obsessed with the notion that I might find a cure for the Marauders, that I could right the tremendous wrong we'd done to them. I think I was a little mad. Perhaps I still am. I wanted to do it all on my own, to fix everything myself. But the problem of the Marauders was too complex for me to solve. And with Gorgon gone, it will remain that way. Borscht and beans, frankly. 1,932 cans of it. I imagine I've got quite the vitamin deficiency now. Of course. Anything else? Or shall I let you see yourself out? Maybe I'll find a handsome little bolt hole out there in the aether, and endeavor to keep a low profile, as they say. Maybe I'll pick up a soothing, useless hobby, like watercolor painting. Spacer's Choice will want to take their turn at revenge, and I'd rather not be within reach when they do. I'll take it a day at a time. Run when I have to, hide when I can. There's no glory in it, but I'm eager to put those days behind me. Where will the future lead you, Captain? Halcyon doesn't deserve your tireless efforts, but I'll be damned if she isn't lucky to have you. In any case, I do believe this is the end. Law willing, Adrenotime is dead for good, and the Marauders will die out with it. Goodbye, Captain, and thank you again. May the stellar wind be ever at your back.
weary. Are you? Of that.